Please, we have Francis on the call.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, could you confirm you can hear me?
Yes, Francis, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so before I start, I would like to say compliments of the season to everyone joining us today. It is my pleasure to welcome every single person in this engagement. SPE, like we all know, is in the business of gathering technical information for the advancement of the oil and gas industry. And that oil and gas industry, we know, has its watchword as safety. In this period when the frenzy is high for people to complete their tasks for the year, ensure that all their KPIs are met, people get into rush and then forget necessary precautions that should be taken. We have found it as a good opportunity again to chime in with those necessary technical information for participants in this industry. So that is why, in collaboration with SPE Ghana, we've decided to bring forward to all the audience this safety roundtable, just to take opportunity of the period to sensitize everyone and bring necessary tips that would help us go through this period in the safest and secure manner. So we have a committee, a very good committee that has put together a very exciting program today and has invited the best of professionals with the necessary competence and expertise to do justice to the topic of safety around this period. I have no doubt, I know the persons, I've read their profile and I know some of them personally, and I have no doubt that the engagement today will be worth the while of every single participant. Therefore, I invite you to pay attention and please note down necessary key points that will be helpful for you, for your family, and for your loved ones in this period. So once again, welcome, and please let's relax and make the best of the time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you. I like what you said. I mean, he made it clear that we should try as much as possible to make this an interactive section. At the end of the presentation, you're going to get a chance to ask as many questions as you want. And so please, 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 as we play the videos, as we go on with the presentation, would want to advise that you put down your questions so you do not forget them, because your question could be, the answer to your question could actually be a life-saving opportunity for someone on this page or even outside of this discussion today. So please take note of that. I wouldn't waste too much time. We'd like to move on to the next item on the bill. We're going to watch a short video on today's theme, right? So when that is done, I would introduce this gentleman who I struggled to put together his profile because he's really big, you know, and so you get to hear from him very soon. So I'd like the technical team to please blow the video for all of us to see right now. Thank you.
Need to, and don't risk ruining the holidays with a back injury just to get that huge box of decorations out of the attic by yourself. Traffic accidents are often the most serious risk to our safety during the holidays. This time of year, drunk driving accounts for 38% of fatal crashes, and 52% of fatalities involve someone who's not wearing a seatbelt. When traveling over the river and through the woods, make sure you're prepared for the weather. Wear your seatbelt, don't drive distracted, and definitely don't drive impaired. Also, don't forget about pedestrian safety. Wrapping presents, broken ornaments, and difficult packaging result in about 43% of holiday lacerations. To avoid this, use the right cutting tool for the job. Make sure any broken ornaments are quickly cleaned up and be very careful when cutting and trimming the tree. Which brings us to our next hazard, Christmas trees. Trees are difficult to maneuver, heavy, often fall on people and pets, and have a tendency to burn and frequently poke children in the eye with pine needles. Not only that, mold on the trees can cause severe allergies for some people. To stay safe, use 2 people to position the tree. Keep the tree 3 feet away from heat sources. Get the right size tree for your space, water the tree frequently, and get rid of it when it starts to lose needles. If you have a mold allergy, use a vinegar solution to keep your tree clean and mold-free. Slips, trips, and falls are especially likely during the holiday season due to extension cords, crowding, slippery sidewalks, floors, and of course, toys. Anyone who knows the pain of stepping on a Lego can attest to that. Make sure to keep your walkways clear of snow and ice, keep cords out of high traffic areas, and keep a separate play area for toys when it's possible. Decorating tends to come with its own special hazards, and the biggest one is falls from heights. Around 5,000 people fall while decorating each year, with 43% of those falls being from ladders. What's more, guys, you're about 40% more likely than women to be injured. To decorate safely, always use the right tool for the job, meaning ladders and step stools, not chairs or the arms of the sofa. Make sure to maintain 3 points of contact and don't risk your safety for Christmas lights. Which brings us to the next hazard. Christmas lights. Each year, with 43% of those falls being from ladders. What's more, guys, you're about 40% more likely than women to be injured. To decorate safely, always use the right tool for the job, meaning ladders and step stools, not chairs or the arms of the sofa. Make sure to maintain 3 points of contact and don't risk your safety for Christmas lights. Which brings us to the next hazard. Christmas lights. Christmas lights result in a shocking number of injuries each year, about 715. To avoid shock, check Christmas lights for cracked sockets or frayed wires. Don't use damaged electrical cords and only use outdoor lights outdoors and make sure that they're plugged into a GFCI. Never overload the circuit, or you may also struggle with our next category, flammables. The holiday season is the season of storing flammables in the home. It's also the season of lighting candles, having fires in the hearth, and cooking gone wrong. To stay safe, keep flammables and heat sources separate. Turn off Christmas lights and other decorations before leaving and before bed. And check to make sure your fire extinguishers are functional and easily accessible.
That is exactly why you want a high-quality fire extinguisher right in the kitchen.
Also, while you're up on that ladder decorating, make sure to check the batteries in the fire alarm and carbon monoxide detector while you're at it. Food is a big part of the holiday tradition, and you may not realize this, but a less well-known part of the American tradition is holiday food poisoning. Make sure food is prepared safely, refrigerated properly, and cooked thoroughly, and avoid storing it in that danger zone of 40 to 140 degrees where bacteria can grow rapidly. If you have severe allergies, remember to ask about ingredients before you eat. And lastly, when going through leftovers, remember, when in doubt, throw it out. Now, speaking of eating, what about drinking? The average American sees a 100% increase in their drinking habits between Thanksgiving and New Year's. Don't let holiday spirits ruin your holiday spirit. Avoid overindulging and the dreaded hangover by giving yourself a limit of how many drinks to have. Make sure you're staying hydrated with water, sip slowly, pace yourself, get a designated driver, and if you're at a party with kids, make sure you don't leave half-empty drinks unattended.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much, technical team. I think this is a very, very comprehensive safety video for the period we find ourselves. Like Chairman said, a lot of us, get so much excited because we want to meet deadlines because it's December, the year is ending, and therefore safety is relegated to the bottom. This is when a lot of people get themselves involved in a lot of accidents. I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to introduce the chairman or the speaker, for today. He happens to be Mr. Adedeji Iwogbemi. So Adedeji Iwogbemi is a technical deputy manager for technical process safety at the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, EMP Limited, a subsidiary of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited. He also doubles as the deputy HSE manager for oil mining lease OML 34 JV assets. Deji is a thoroughbred HSE professional with an industry experience that spans over 20 years. He comes with the proficiency in technical, pardon me. Sorry about that. I got distracted a bit. Proficiency in technical process safety management and conveys unorthodox information about personal and community safety in a style that is uncanny. With his dexterity, he delivers knowledge and provides insight that leaves an impression in the minds of listeners, leading to change and desire to continually improve safe systems of work in teams that he has actually successfully built and trained over the past 10 years of process safety mentoring in the upstream oil and gas sector in Nigeria, particularly across all assets within the NEPL. Ladies and gentlemen, Adedeji, your audience.
Yes, thank you very much, moderator, and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate the SPE Benin and Ghana sections for this opportunity to speak to us this afternoon on safety during the Yuletide season. Very quickly, I'm going to take us through a couple of slides where I will be channeling us through a framework for ensuring a safe holiday or a safer holiday season with special use of the HSE incident pyramid. The HSE incident pyramid is used for HSE statistics building, but we're going to try to combine that this afternoon with how to keep safe during the holiday season. I would request that the technical people kindly go along with me as we move from slide to slide. So the holiday season, like the moderator said, is often marked by increased festivities and gatherings. It's a time of joy. It's a time that people want to wind down, having spent the last 12 months of their lives probably in hard work. So they need to rest, they need to cool off, they need to relax. Also comes with potential risk for accidents and incidents, because at those times, people tend to lose their guard as far as safety is concerned. So we'll quickly delve into strategies and practices which are aimed at ensuring a safe Yuletide for individuals, for families, and for communities. By examining aspects such as fire safety, travel precautions, and mental well-being, we aim to focus this presentation and provide insights into achieving a secure and incident-free holiday season. How do we do that is to incorporate health, safety, and environment pyramid and the relationship that it has with accidents and incidents in a hierarchy of controls and incident prevention as well. So the incident pyramid, like I said earlier, is a conceptual framework that allows us to understand the causes of accidents. We've spent a lot of time to talk about what the Yuletide season is all about, increased risk for accidents. It also means that we need to enhance safety measures in order to stay safe. And we're going to end this off by talking about the relevance of the HSE pyramid in accident prevention. So if you look at the next slide that shows the incident pyramid, it shows the top of the pyramid that is that talks of the major accidents, the moderate incidents, and near misses at the bottom, which is wide. The pyramid illustrates a structure where that base shows you a larger number of less severe incidents, in this case referred to as near misses. But as you move up the pyramid, you discover that the incidents become more and more severe, even though they are less frequent. And the progress is something that tells you that if you take care of the bottom as well as you should, then you probably wouldn't get to the tip of it, which is the major accidents or the fatalities. The next slide is going to show us how these incidents progress from near misses to the major incidents. At the beginning, where you see the unsafe acts and unsafe conditions or near misses, it points out to the fact that there's a disaster that is about to happen if care is not taken. So when you get to the moderate incident, it's also telling you that these incidents that are occurring now, there could be more serious ones if we do not take precautions. This could be little around medical treatment cases or some little injuries here and there that are still controllable. But the apex of the pyramid is where you start to experience major accidents. They are very rare, but they could be very severe. And some of them could lead to fatalities or extensive life damage, whereby people lose their limbs for the rest of their lives. These are the area we want to encourage our people not to get into by taking care of the lesser unsafe acts and conditions that allow them to spiral into incidents. So there's a concept of proportionality. The pyramid, like I said earlier, suggests that for every major accident, there must have been numerous near misses and minor accidents, and trying to address and learn from these incidents will contribute to prevention of major accidents. It is advisable that we are also able to identify the hazards. It is in identification that you are able to mitigate against those hazards to prevent them from becoming accidents here this afternoon. Preventive focus is the way to go. The pyramid underscores the importance of focusing on lower levels so that you can prevent the occurrence of major accidents. The Henrik's law, which is the concept that is associated with the pyramid, speaks to the fact that a large number of minor incidents and near misses always precede smaller incidents or more severe incidents. When we say smaller numbers, that's to say that in the triangle that you can see there, or the pyramid, the numbers are in order of magnitude. You can see that unsafe acts, as many as 300,000, could end up with just one fatality. But that one fatality, like we all know, is that part of the pyramid that we do not want to get to. As a matter of fact, we do not want to even get into the serious accidents. We want to stop at the near misses as much as possible. But doing all of this is understanding the theory of risk. And when you understand the theory of risk, you know that if you take care of those unsafe acts at the beginning of identification, then you are more likely never to get to the serious accidents, let alone the fatalities. So, having said all that as a background, we'll now talk about the risk for accidents that require enhanced safety measures during the Yuletide. We'll start with discussing the fire safety measures. In the video that we watched, we had seen that, as usual, as is the practice during this Yuletide period, there's a lot of decorations and a lot of lightings and all of that. As a matter of fact, people cook a little bit more, especially cooking using oil and all of those kinds of stuff within our environment. So we need to consider the safe use of candles and lights and other decorations so that we can mitigate fire hazards. As far as cooking safety is concerned, we ask that people exercise serious caution in the kitchen to minimize the risk of cooking-related fires. I mean, using oil in this period to fry the chicken, to fry the beef and all of those things, we need to be extra careful to ensure that while trying to enjoy those delicacies, we do not lead ourselves into fire hazards and eventual accidents. Travel precautions, road safety. There's an increased risk associated with holiday travel. It is important to comply with the safe driving protocol. Besides the safe driving protocol, we also need to check our vehicles to ensure that they're in perfect condition. It's not a time to race against time. If you must get somewhere early, then you should leave early. You don't get on the road and begin to make increased acceleration in order to arrive early when you could have made adequate plans to depart also early enough. Air travel safety, always consider security measures and best practices for air travel during the festive season. In this part of the Sahara, we all know that at this time of the year, it's always a period where you have foggy weather. It's a period where visibility is low. So most times airplanes find it difficult to take off and to land, particularly in airports where there's no sufficient lighting and all of that. So we need to plan air travel around our understanding of the times for departure and times of arrival. The best times to travel are in the mid-afternoons into the early evenings when the weather is clear enough. Public transportation safety, we should ensure that we use the public transportation safely. We should avoid peak periods. Peak periods, everyone is in a hurry, including the drivers, and everyone in the vehicle is not prepared to take safety seriously. So we should plan our own transportation to not coincide with the peak travel periods as much as possible. We know that some of these things are not preventable, but then again, with proper planning, most of these things can be avoided. Talking about community engagement and education, it's a good time to advocate for community-based workshops and training sessions on holiday safety. In our little enclosures, we should train people about what we know. We might be fortunate enough to have some of this information that a lot of people who work around us and who live with us do not have. So it's a good time for us to do that. As companies, organizations, and communities, it's a very good time to have public awareness campaigns, get involved in the awareness campaigns that educate individuals about the potential risks and preventive measures. Let people know how to deal with the season in terms of keeping themselves safe and employing measures that keep themselves, their families, and even their neighbors away from danger. And how do we do this? We have looked at the HS incident pyramid, so we're going to use that to consider the preventive measures that you can take during the holiday season. We said earlier that it's important to be able to identify near misses and minor incidents. There may be an increased likelihood that people would be a little bit less careful. So it's a good time to be able to increase our risk awareness and not normalize the risks that come across our daily lives. So fire hazards, kitchen accident, travel-related incidents is the best time to keep our ears open, our minds very sharp, to be able to identify the near misses and minor incidents. We should focus on the lower levels of the pyramid, and we should do that by implementing proactive safety measures, address fire and safety in the use of holiday decorations, promote very responsible use of alcohol, substance-related incidents, and ensure that safe travels is the watchword for every one of us. We mitigate the risk. We also learn from past incidents. We would see from the pyramid that it emphasizes the learning from near misses and minor incidents, which is what would ensure that we do not get to the upper reaches of the pyramid where the major accidents and fatality reside. So we analyze any incidents or near misses which you have identified in step 1 to ensure that they do not happen again. We could also be able to develop patterns and find out areas that need improvement, which enable us to implement our targeted preventive measures. It is important that you know, but knowledge alone is not enough. It is what you use the knowledge for. It's how you utilize the knowledge that will determine whether there's going to be safety at the end of the day or not. One of the simplest electrical safety tips is one that people also tend to forget the most. And we want to encourage us to always unplug all our used appliances to reduce potential risk. Most of the time, because we want to keep the lights maybe at night for people to be able to see the beauty and all of that, we tend to leave them to stay for too long and they get overheated. And that's a recipe for disaster. It not only saves us the power usage that comes along with you switching it off, the energy that you consume is reduced. But at the end of the day, besides all of that, it is important that you also reduce the risk of overheating or overloading of those sockets. Haven't had them for a very long time. Ensure that all your electrical appliances, both in use and not in use, are unplugged when not necessary, when you don't need to use them. Keep all electrical devices and outlets away from water. Keeping electrical equipment dry and away from water always prevents damage to those appliances, and it protects against personal injury and electrocution. So when you're working with electrical appliances, it's important to have them, to handle them with dry hands. Keep electrical equipment away from plants, from pots, from aquarium, things that have water in them from time to time. And when you get into the shower and the bathtubs in this season of Christmas, in this season of the Yuletide, where you're in a hurry to jump into one activity, event or the other, please always take it easy. Make sure that your hands are dry. Make sure that you don't put on electrical appliances when you're either stepping on water or having some water around you. In the same vein, do not overload electrical outlets with too many decorations and devices. The tendency and the risk here is that because we have so many things we want to plug in at the same time, fancy lights, the trees and all of those things, we could be tempted to overload the sockets, and overloading can cause damages to electrical devices. And if there's an explosion or fire outbreak, because there are also, there's fuel around, talking about the Christmas tree, talking about the boxes that are under, they provide ready fuel for a fire disaster. So we should ensure that we do not overload the sockets. As far as food safety is concerned, there are steps to food safety. You need to, you need to clean, you need to separate, you need to cool, you need to chill. There's a danger zone between 40 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the danger zone for food materials. And like the video had said to us, if you are not sure, then it's better to discard it. Food is only good as, it's only as good as how well it was cooked and how well it was preserved. So the basic key to food safety is to cook it at the right temperature and store it properly. When you heat them for long enough, there is a very high possibility that you would kill all the harmful bacteria that cause foodborne illnesses in them, but also storing them and preserving the food quality would both prevent spoilage and poisoning, which is very rampant around this time of year. Road safety during the Yuletide, before you embark on any journey, like we said before, either public or private transport, always wear your safety belts. Ensure that you are not carried away by discussions within the vehicle, inconveniences that come with using the safety belt and all of those things. Always bear in mind that it's better safe than sorry. Driving under the influence is a major cause of road accidents around this period. So alcohol and other controlled substances always affect the central nervous system. It doesn't matter for how long you have been doing it. It doesn't matter how well your body handles it. A little too much of it here and there can always cause your nervous system to break down or for it to be altered to an extent that you're no longer in control. So when you're traveling, it's important that you carry on an emergency kit. It may come in very handy. The first aid box should be fully equipped so that you can handle first aid incidences. If there is an incident or an accident before you get help, that first aid kit might just be the lifesaver. I mean, in all of the safety processes and checks that we have mentioned, every of them would only be useful to us if we are security conscious during this time. If you find any suspicious movement, it's important that you report them immediately to appropriate authorities. And if you plan to travel during the holidays, ensure that your trusted neighbors and friends are informed of your departure and arrival times. When you get to where you're going, try to inform them they have gotten to your destinations. But while you're preparing, we advise that you censor the type of information that you reveal to both friends and strangers, especially those of us who are very avid users of the social media. Your locations should not be posted for everyone to see and know what your movements are like. When you're moving, when you get into places and you have arrived and you feel like letting people know, then it's a good time to post your pictures and all of that. Not like we advise that you should, but if you must, then make sure that you've arrived safely and people can no longer trace your movements as at the time of posting. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we say that ensuring a safe Yuletide requires a multifaceted approach. It addresses various aspects of safety, starting from fire prevention to your mental well-being. It is important that you stay close to those who understand you at this time so that you don't lose your mind as a result of pressure from things that you probably are unable to have achieved in the last 12 months. There's always a new year. There's always a new beginning. So it's not a time to get yourself into a depressed state of mind, especially probably when you start to relate with people who have achieved things that you probably feel you should have achieved as well. By implementing the suggested strategies, we can contribute to an incident-free holiday season. We allow individuals to celebrate and cherish this special time of year in a safe manner. So, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, in order not to bore us further, I would like to say that this is the best time of your year. This is the best time of your season. Please take care of yourself and take care of your family as well. Have a very wonderful afternoon. We're here to take questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Deji. This is the best time of your life. This is the best time of your season. Take care of yourself and take care of your family and friends. Thank you very much, Mr. Deji. So the floor is now open for question and answers. If you do have any question, please just unmute your mic and then ask. Thank you. Alternatively, you can leave it in the chat box and then I'll read it out for the moderator, for the speaker. Thank you. All right, I'll ask the first question. Mr. Deji, I'd like to find out if it is advisable to travel on the day of the festivities. For example, we all know Christmas is on the 25th, right? Is it advisable to travel days before or on that day? And what are some of the safety precautions you will take when traveling with the family? For example, is it advisable everybody or every member of the family travels in the same bus, in the same vehicle? What are the pros and cons? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, James, for that question. In reality, practically, people should plan to travel days before the festivities, especially days before the Christmas Day or the New Year's Day, as the case may be. For work-related reasons, a few people are unable to make that trip early enough. So most people tend to travel just the day before or even on the festive day itself. In all of these movements, what is most important is to have carried out your risk assessment prior. It's good to understand your environment, understand the different nuances and the different ambiguities that are related to where exactly you're staying and where you're traveling to. For some people, they travel on the day of the festival because the roads are a bit freer. And with the free roads come ease of movement, but it also comes with a state of insecurity. Because when you're on the road with a lot of people, there's this sense of security that comes with the fact that there's so many people on the road. But when you're traveling alone and the road is very free, you're unable to know what's in front of you beyond what you can see. So we would advise that people, as much as possible, make those trips in a planned manner where you can travel a couple of days before the festivals, so that on the day of the festival, you have time to enjoy with family and you're not on the road in a state of frenzy, in a state of panic because you're trying to catch up or because you're scared of what's in front of you or what's ahead of you in terms of security and all of that. So from our side of things, health and safety will say it's better for you to travel a few days before. On the issue of the whole of the family traveling together or spreading the risk, I mean, if we risk assessed appropriately, it's always safer, or rather, it's more secure to be with those that you love. And if the pilot of the vehicle is safe in his mind and how he chooses to do things, nobody's in a better position to pilot his family to destination than himself. Then again, if it's a public transportation use, people might be tempted to share the risk because they're not very sure which is better. But then again, if we do a proper risk assessment, then we should be comfortable in whichever mode of transportation that A is in, then B, C, D, E, and even to Z can also be in. So sharing the risk is an old-fashioned way of trying to keep safe. The best way to keep safe is to do a thorough risk assessment and be sure that that one vehicle is good enough for one and is good enough for all. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, DG, for this answer. Kindly unmute and then ask your question if you do have any question. You can also drop it in the chat box if people are asking on your behalf. The floor is now open, please. About 12 days to the beginning of the Xmas festivities, and safety is the first thing we should consider. So kindly feel free to unmute and then ask any other question, unless of course we are okay with whatever was shared with us, or the tips. The floor is now open. The floor is now open. The floor is now open. Or should we take it that all of us are okay with everything that was said? And we are looking forward to the Christmas festivities as well as the New Year. All right, Madam Vivian, please unmute and ask your question. Vivian Monye, please unmute. Yes.
So my honest reaction would be that the session was very explicit and well understood. To be honest, I don't have a question to ask because he touched on every area that I would likely have a question from. So I want to thank the speaker and appreciate the content as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Vivian. Contributions, suggestions are also welcome. We have one question in our chat box from Benson. Benson is asking, good afternoon, sir. While traveling during the Yuletide season, is it safe to stop in the scene of an accident? Over to you, Mr. Deji.
All right, thank you very much, James. Yes, Benson, a very good question. Most of the time, the humanity in us is lost because of issues that have arisen and information that has been passed over the past in terms of when incidents occur and people tend to want to lend a helping hand, what has been the case of probably issues of kidnapping and robberies as a function of having stopped by to just help people who are in distress. So I can understand why you've asked this question. It is not only limited to the Yuletide season. At any point where people are in distress, the natural thing for us to do is to want to be of help. Having said that, it is also a good time to carry out a quantitative risk assessment of the environment. When there is an incident and there are quite a lot of people who are there, then what you might want to ask yourself is, if I stop here right now, what am I going to be doing differently? Do I have the expertise to help? Do I have space in my car to be able to convey some members of some affected or people from the incident? Do I have what it takes to be able to assist them? And if that is the case, then it might not be a bad thing to do. But then again, every incident is peculiar to itself. So you need to watch exactly what has happened and probably keep a safe distance to assess it properly before you decide on which course of action to take. I would say that it is the humanity in us that wants to help others. So there's nothing wrong with that, but we shouldn't do that blindly. We should do that knowing fully well what the risks are and how we're able to get out of such situations should things go from good to bad very quickly. So whether in the Yuletide season or any season for that matter, when you're traveling and there's an accident, you are not a law enforcement person, so you are not in the best position to be the arbiter in that matter, but you could be of help if you have some skills that may be required. Maybe you are one who can perform CPR, maybe you are one who has some kind of first aid equipment in your vehicle, and if you also are able to convey victims from that scene to the best place of help. So that decision should be taken with a quantitative risk assessment in mind. So that would be my honest advice to Benson.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Deji. The floor is still open for further questions and contributions, suggestions. It's an open forum. All right. Another question from Mr. Experience is asking, in this Yuletide season, is it safe to help someone going towards your direction? Again, how to balance humanity against safety. Over to you, Mr. Deji.
All right, so I'm going to be very straight on this one. So Experience, yes, it's another question that borders on humanity. And I stand in this meeting this afternoon not to speak as a human capital manager, but as a safety professional. So I would say to you that it is unsafe. It is unsafe to help people going in your direction who you do not know and for whom you cannot vouch. There are a lot of things that could happen. One of them is that they could have ailments that you're not familiar with, that you do not know about. If anything happens to them while they're in your vehicle, you take absolute responsibility. At the same time, they could be members of a particular kind of ring of or gang of armed robbers, ritualists, kidnappers, who just want to get into your vehicle and get you to stop at places where there are other gang members are and all of those things. So it borders on security, safety as well. So from the hat that I'm wearing this afternoon, I'm going to say it's unsafe. But is it humane? Yes, it is humane. But is it safe? I would say it's not.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. DJ. This reminds me of a post I saw on WhatsApp a few days ago where it is advising that kids are holding placards with home addresses, and you'll be tempted to help them, but then they'll lead you to a place where bad guys can just kidnap you, harvest your organs here and there. So I think that answer is right on point for that particular scenario as well. Thank you very much. Any other question before we bring our session to a close? Any other suggestion, advice, thoughts? The floor is now open, please.
Good day all. Good
Yes,
afternoon.
good day.
Yeah, my name
Good
is
afternoon.
Ifeanyi.
We can hear you.
My name is Ifeanyi Daniel Okafor. Thank you so much, sir, for this. It has been instructive, it has been informative, and it has been educative. Thank you so very much, sir. My question is this: during transition from the 31st night to the new year, you observe that majority of the churches tends to share candle lights, what I would call candle nights. And we know that we know the risks associated with the candle lights. And as a safety professional, as a safety veteran, what is your advice, your safety advisory to the congregation and to the pastor that insists that they've been doing this thing and over the years, and this night they cannot stop it? So what's your safety advisory as a professional to the congregation and to the pastor? Because we've seen some kind of test and some of experiment whereby people tend to extinguish the candle light. They tend to like add water to the candle light in order to extinguish it. And it causes more harm than good, resulting to fire explosion. Sir, what is your safety advisory to the congregation in respect to this, sir? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Daniel. The use of open flame candles for procession and for ushering in the new year is as old as history itself. So it's something that we have become accustomed to seeing. And the efforts that we may make as safety professionals is in enlightenment so that people know the risk that is associated with the use of open flamed candles as a major source of fire outbreaks should anything go wrong. And in the euphoria of jumping and heralding the coming of the new year, people want to be a little bit more careless. So if you would ask me, I would say we can enlighten those ministers and those who request that open flame candles be used to usher in the new year on the dangers that are involved in that practice. Having said that, you have already alluded to the fact that they would say to you that they've been doing that for years and nothing has happened. And even when things happen, we probably are never going to hear about it anyways. But then again, it doesn't make it safe. So it's an unsafe practice, it's an unsafe act. The number of people that could be affected should anything go wrong is massive. It could lead to stampede if anything goes wrong as well. So it's a complete no-no from a safety professional point of view. But the best we can do is to enlighten those who request for it, who are in the practice of using it. And for those of us who understand the implications, we can best appeal to ourselves not to participate as much as possible, because the fewer people participate, the more likely it is that if it goes wrong, it will affect fewer people. So enlightenment and refraining from participating would be what I would advise from the HSE point of view.
Thank you so very much, sir. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deji. Any other question? Our highly esteemed HSE manager is here to take all our questions. Suggestions are welcome, advices are welcome. We are well within our time, so we can take more questions and suggestions. All right, I'll take it that we are all okay, and then we are safe and sound to begin the Christmas festivities somewhere next week. On behalf of both the section chairpersons of Ghana section and our brothers from Benin section, Benin City section, I would like to thank our highly esteemed speaker for honoring our invitation and giving us today's lecture. Thank you very much, Mr. Deji. It would be me. We are most grateful.
Thank you very much, James. I really appreciate once again the extension of this invitation to be able to speak at this event. While I was being introduced, it had been said that I work with a team of technical process safety people over here at the NEPL in Benin, and I would like to appreciate my team members who joined me to put this together. They're a wonderful team. It will only be a good thing to acknowledge them and also thank them for being here this afternoon. I want to once again appreciate the SP Benin and Ghana chapter for this opportunity, and I hope we have an incident and accident-free Yuletide 2023, and a very happy and prosperous 2024. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Deji and your company, NEPL, for such an enriching section. We'll take the closing remarks from the section chairperson of the SP Ghana section. She's currently in a training in faraway Milan, so I'll do that on her behalf. On behalf of myself, James Aloto, kind of program's chairperson, Shina, also answer my section chairperson, and then Mr. Francis Oko, the section chairman for SP Benin, and my fellow programs chairman for SP Benin, Augustine. I would like to thank you all for taking your time, your efforts to join us for today's session. It has really been enlightening. The thought process, the slides, the advices, the speech from our distinguished speaker is going a long way to help us have a safe Yuletide season this year and next year. Once again, on behalf of both sections, we would like to thank you all for taking your time to join us today. We hope to see you all in our various next events we'll put together. As we all know, SP is a platform where we collect and disseminate technical information and knowledge for the benefits of society. So thank you very much once again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again at our next event. It's the end of the year, so I'll remind you all to kindly go back to your profiles on SP and renew your membership. There's the year, or there's the time for you to be able to renew your membership. Join SP, sp.org/join. It's a place for all of today's industry's professional, regardless of your experience, your course of study, etc., etc. All those engineers are the core members of SP. We welcome every scientist. We welcome everybody. Professional members benefits. You have discounted event registration. We have special pricing on books and subscriptions. You can also go on One Petrol and have discounts. You can also subscribe to JPT. The deals ranges between $25 and $130 per year based on your country of residence. For our student members, it is for free. Chevron has graciously agreed to sponsor each SP student member. Some of the benefits include you can have access to SP scholarship, you can have discounts on textbook and reference book. It's a place where you can network and share ideas. It's a place where you can build upon your leadership skills, your human capital skills. You can receive an advice from career mentors. You feel proud to belong to an industry where you can contribute to the safe harnessing of our natural resources for the benefit of mankind. So once again, this is the time, this is the season for you to keep safe, for you to keep your family and friends safe, and renew your membership to join SP. On that note, I would like to thank you again for joining us. Thank you very much, and do have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful evening ahead. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.